Alright, guys. Time for some Patreon reviews, and we're going to kick things off with Nolan Unejo, who asked me to do a hero-villain mashup. These are exclusively over on Patreon, but before we go any further, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. Anyway, so let's get started with this Patreon request. So like I said, this is a Patreon request involving hero-villain mashup. Now, for those who are new here, hero-villain mashup is basically a video series where I take a hero and villain and kind of mix it up and like, what would their what if this villain was that hero's in their rogues gallery. And yeah, so that's pretty much the premise. I do this exclusively over on Patreon now, and a new segment of it will be coming soon. It was voted on. It actually won by a lot, so that'll be fun to find to get to. So that's coming out soon. Hopefully, I can get it out tonight, but we'll see. Anyway, so as you can see from the title, Captain Marvel and SpaceGodzilla. That's the hero-villain mashup right now. Now, yes, let's talk about the major size difference here. Now, Carol is very powerful. I don't think a lot of people mentally grasp how powerful Carol can be. Like, she's easily up there with Thor in terms of power level. Is she Sentry level? Not really, but she is definitely someone who can give a couple good shots to Thor, as well as like some other big name. No, I wouldn't. Well, maybe like The Thing and She-Hulk. Hulk, it varies between writer, but really, a lot of people don't understand how powerful Carol is as a character. And she has fought giant monsters on her own, some from space, some from the Marvel Universe. So this isn't totally out of the realm of possibility. So, and you may be thinking, well, SpaceGodzilla is just a mindless monster. There's really nothing that, would be interesting about this. That's where you're wrong. You see, SpaceGodzilla is a very interesting enigma among the Godzilla Rogues gallery. Mostly because SpaceGodzilla is actually one of the few kaiju who's openly nefarious. It isn't like with most where they're under control or they're programmed in case of some of the mechas to be evil, or mind-controlled to be evil, or are used by alien forces. Really, he's one of the few in the Godzilla Rogues gallery to be an openly malicious force. In fact, in a lot of the comics, he was actually kind of a big, villain, because he was the one openly, in the Godzilla ongoing, that was, when I say ongoing, it only went on for 13 issues, SpaceGodzilla basically orchestrated a space invasion with some of the other space kaiju like Kaiser Ghidorah, Gigan, and Hidora. So it's kind of a bit. He was the mastermind behind it, and he's also considers himself in a lot of the Godzilla comics and lore as a world conqueror. So, it isn't like with Ghidorah, who loves just destroying things, or Destroya, who is just like, I'm the ultimate life form, I'm gonna fucking kill everything. SpaceGodzilla is actually one of the few, if not the only kaiju, who's actually concerned about ruling shit, and he's actually pretty intelligent too. So, yeah, there's cause for that. So what would it be like if SpaceGodzilla was one of Carol's enemies? I think it would be very fascinating, because SpaceGodzilla has a massive level of telepathy. He's also capable of, obviously, his crystal power. Now, the big thing is, could his crystals actually absorb Carol's energy projections? That's actually I think it's a pretty big possibility, because what would happen is that if Carol went to go fight SpaceGodzilla, she'd probably think it's some dumb monster and probably blast him. That's when he just summons one of his crystals, blocks it, and absorbs that power, then redirects it back at her. That's going to be a thing if Carol ever encountered him. He would be able to just kind of manipulate the very arena around her. He's already just kind of tearing apart the planet with just raising the ground up and just creating all these spikes and whatnot. and just either shooting energy blasts or absorbing Carol's energy over and over again. Carol is capable of taking on large monsters, but this is a kaiju, and not only that, a kaiju with a brain, and someone who knows how to use his intellect. This is a guy who, for all intents and purposes, you don't fuck with. You do not fuck with this guy. And if you do, you better have some serious firepower behind you. SpaceGodzilla's not the one to just let you just run away. He has that very much same Godzilla mentality, because he is a clone of Godzilla, technically speaking. He doesn't let you get away. And if you're a threat, he's not going to let you get away. So I think he would at first see... I think it would be kind of funny, is like SpaceGodzilla's taking over a planet, and he's just like having a grand old time. And then in comes Carol, come flying in at Mach like 10. And he's like, what the hell is that? And then gets, he thinks it's a human just flying. And he's like, what? Then he'll get blasted or punched in the face, and he's just going to be like, oh, this bitch is dead. So... that's something you really have to look at with this kind of rivalry they would probably have. I also imagine SpaceGodzilla would probably use, his telepathy to, maybe manipulate others into fighting. It has been explored in some media that SpaceGodzilla does have, a high level of telepathy that can mind control others, but that hasn't really been played with, so that's kind of more of an experimental one, if anything else. All in all, I do think that this would be a pretty interesting rivalry, and almost even. So yeah. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think it would be like if Captain Marvel and SpaceGodzilla were enemies? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Nolan and Neho for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.